Hello and welcome back to my channel to find out what's on the hook today. Today I am wearing a scarf that I made last year. I admit this is a finished object that's been around for about a year. I've worn it a lot. It is a 70-inch scarf that I just made up on my own. It's not hard at all to do. I made it from Lion brand homespun yarn. It's a little difficult to crochet with because you can't see the stitches as well, but it's not the thick and quick. It's the regular homespun brand, so it's a little bit easier to work with. And I crocheted this last year. It didn't take long at all. Like I said, it's a 70-inch scarf. Each row has a turning chain of 3, and that's counted as a stitch, and there are 10 stitches across. It's very kind of narrow. I like them like that though because you can do a lot with them. They're not so huge, up around your neck. So I've put this around my neck twice and have this much left over. So it's a nice long scarf. And if you'll notice, the fringe always looks great on these. I need to give it a little haircut there, and over time you have to give it a haircut because it'll fray. There's a pretty good size halo on this particular yarn, but I do love the colorway, and it's from last year, so I couldn't tell you what colors. I went out and looked at the Lion brand homespun site on Amazon actually, and I couldn't find the color anywhere that was exactly like this, but I did find a similar one, so I put a link down in the description box to it. These are some of my very favorite colors, and you've probably figured that out by now, but I love the colors of fall. I just think they're so warm and so exciting that Christmas is coming and all that, and I think that's why I like those colors so much. And of course, green is my favorite color, so I wear it a lot. Anyway, it's a little chilly today, so I thought I would wear this scarf and show you what a beautiful colorway this is. Look at that. That is just gorgeous. It's very similar to the scarf I made a few videos back, about the same color, but a little bit thicker yarn. So just wanted to show you that. Today's video is about cutting your losses again and making mistakes, making decisions, deciding on what to do about things. And a few videos back we talked about the Mary Maxim February box that came, or actually it was a bag that came, and this was the pattern. It was for a Blankie, we called it. And actually they call it a Blankie. Sorry, it's called a Blankie. And I was going to make this for my daughter who had a baby last year, almost at Christmas time, November 28th. And I got this in the mail from Mary Maxim in January, and I thought, I'm going to make that, I think it was February, excuse me. I'm going to make that blanket for my daughter. So I was all excited, and I made quite a bit of the blanket, probably about, 14 inches, maybe 16. I was working hard, and then to repeat, I was watching a basketball game with my husband, and I got off of my stitches and my decreases and my increases, and I really messed it up. I messed it up badly, and then I kept crocheting because I wasn't cutting my losses. So I thought, well, I'll just crochet it, it'll be okay. Well, it wasn't okay. By the time I stopped, it was basically a flat, there weren't any ripples in it. And Crystal, I'm going to bring her up here because she's wearing the original blanket. I haven't frogged this yet. This is the original blanket, and it is a gorgeous pattern. I've frogged out everything to where it was what I thought salvageable. But when I started working on it again, I still couldn't get it to work out. I don't know what is wrong with me that I can't do a ripple Afghan pattern. I think you have to concentrate a little bit, and I'm just not one for doing that when I'm in front of the TV. And a blanket or some huge project, that's a TV project. I just can't sit and crochet. I can do it for a while, but I like to be doing 2 or 3 things at once, and that doesn't lend itself well to a pattern that you can really get off quickly on. So these you have to count a certain number, then you have to decrease 4, then you have to increase 4, then you have to decrease 4. And if you get off 1 stitch and then 1 more stitch, your ripple is going to be crooked. So I consider this pattern one that is very beautiful, it's beautifully done, but it's not good for me. So what I did was, as you remember from the video before, I frogged out probably this much, and I continued on, and it still wasn't working for me. So I went, okay, that's good. I measured it. It was 30 inches wide. So I went out on the web and I found another pattern that was much easier to do. And it was on the Nervous Knitter. I wrote the girl's name. Well, I don't have her name, but she's called the Nervous Knitter. It's a really cute name. And I saw a wave blanket on there, and I thought, well, I'm going to click on that and see if her pattern is easier to understand. And it certainly was. Oh my goodness, it was so much easier to understand. And as you remember, when I frogged, I had all this yarn. This is probably 2 balls of yarn, actually. There's one underneath here that I hadn't really gotten very far on. And then I probably frogged a whole ball of yarn onto this one and wound it. Then I have one small one left, and then one full ball. And what I think is going to happen is I'll probably run out of this, and I'll have to use my frog yarn, which is fine. And then I may have to cut into my original. I might have to frog some of this, but I don't want to frog it yet. That's a possibility for another day. But right now, I want to give her the blanket, so I'm not going to spend a month trying to figure out how to make it perfect. I'm not going to do that. I just got a different pattern. And this is the pattern that I got. I've been working on this for just a very short time. And if you look at the sides, very straight. Mine were not as straight as I wanted them to be. I don't know why. They just didn't turn out that straight. The sides are very straight. The increases and decreases are easy to find because there's a chain in there. And I know some people don't like those holes, but I do. I think they're great. This other one did not have any holes. See? It was just solid all the way through. And that makes it a beautiful pattern. Don't get me wrong. But for I need to be quick and I need to get it finished. And I don't want it to be sitting around here all season and then come up next year and still be trying to finish the blanket. So if you'll notice, I've gotten quite a bit done, probably about 8 inches on this one. And it's the same width as the other blanket pattern. So I should have absolutely no problem having plenty of yarn to finish this up. And I'll be working on that fairly soon. I'll probably finish it in the next couple of weeks. So I just wanted to go over that with you. I know I talk about cutting your losses quite often, and I have to take my own advice. And when I started seeing that the blanket wasn't going to pan out, I figured, you know what? I really, really should just stop and find some way else to make this blanket. And I wanted to make a blanket, so that worked out great. And it wasn't anything against Mary Maxim. They have an awesome pattern. It was just, you have to really concentrate to get it done. And I'm just not in that mindset when I'm making a blanket. I don't want to have to concentrate on every row and count every row's stitches and make sure every row is perfect, because this new pattern is so much easier. Oh my goodness, it's so much easier. So I will put a link down to the Wave Ripple blanket from the Nervous Knitter. I'll put a link down there, so if you want to run out there and take a look at it, you can. And you know, you can make that blanket. She doesn't have any parameters on it, so you can make it, I think it's 14 stitches plus 14 plus 14, and however long you want to make it, and then add 4 to the end. And I think I did 6 repetitions across, maybe 8. But it's very simple. When you first go on there, you can just listen to her. Click pause when you want to write something down, or if you want to chain up to get as much as you need, and then work along with her. She's very, very clear, and I appreciate her tutorial. So that's what's going on with my Blankie. And I don't usually complain about what I do, so I'm just say I just cut my losses and did a plan B. That's what I call that. I call it a plan B. So anyway, join me next time to find out what's on the hook.